That'd be sweet.
So what?
Have a picture frame going in the back. Let me do us a favor.
Yeah. Good call, coach. Get the sucker shot. Okay. You ready?
Yeah, bro.
You gotta cough it out, you know?
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. All right, you ready?
Ready.
Get your cough out.
Yeah.
All right. Hi, I'm Austin Eartham.
And I'm Taylor Patton, and welcome to the Kitchen Table Podcast.
Here to motivate, educate, and relate to you guys, sharing our stories, helping you get 1% better in all areas of your life. Episode 65. 64. Sorry. Too many numbers in my head right now. Episode 64. How we doing?
I swear, I'm not dumb, right?
No, it's 64. You're right.
Okay.
I got 64 wrote down.
Okay.
How you been? How's your week?
It was good. Busy.
Yeah?
It was interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was good.
Yeah. Got to see my mom for the first time in 2-3 months. That was good.
Nice. You got some more snow here?
Terrible.
Terrible. NFL playoffs? Great day to be alive. Anyways, let's jump right into it. Remember, we're switching things up a little bit, going off of just kind of our thoughts for the week and building upon those. Season 4 is all about just life in general. So we're going to switch things up. Let us know if you like the format or not. Just jump into it. You got a quote?
I do.
All right, shoot it at me. I'm going to dig into the details, baby.
I got two.
Okay.
But
That's all right.
I might leave the one for later.
Okay.
Here, I'll go with this one. I'll give it the heavy hitter. Today's the first day of the rest of your life. What kind of life are you gonna live?
Today is the first day of the rest of your life. What life are you going to live?
Yeah. What kind of life are you going to live?
That kind of goes with my stuff for today, actually. So I'll let you go first. You got thoughts on it? You got a lot of thoughts, you think.
my thoughts from the quote, it really like puts in perspective, like, okay, like what are you doing today that's gonna further your life tomorrow? And
Yeah.
that like what habits are you putting in your life, what choices are you making? And that like today is what you have. Yesterday is yesterday, tomorrow is tomorrow. Today is what like you can make a difference is. So what are you gonna do to make it better? Like how you,
Yeah.
what is it like? The decisions you made a year ago affect.
Yeah, so
you
Elon
live
Musk,
today.
the decisions you made 3 months ago will affect your life a year from now.
Yeah.
So yeah, whatever time frame you want to
Yeah.
say, but basically your everyday decisions will impact you some way, shape, or form in the future.
And it even goes to like short and like even like the decisions you made yesterday, like
Mhm.
affect your life today.
And so that's interesting. I got so many thoughts now. I just need to, I got talking. So number one, I think, so last night, for instance, eating dinner, we had lasagna. So I love having wine with pasta.
Mm-hmm.
And I said I wasn't going to have any alcohol until I got back from this camp, which is this week. And I was like, should I just have one glass of wine? He's like, last time I was at a camp, I literally drank the night before and I had half a bottle of wine. I did great at the camp. She's like, Steph was like, no, you should just wait. So and then after dinner, I was like, I'm glad I didn't have that glass of wine. So it's just like, it seems like such a small thing. Like it really probably wouldn't have affected me at all, but just building those good habits and keeping yourself accountable, I think, on your decision making, again, will impact you. Oh yeah, it's just a glass of wine, right? It's no big deal. Then it probably wouldn't have been a big deal, but just psychologically to know that you went through that and stuck with it is, I think, promising. That's one thought I had. Second thing is that I was listening to a thing with Matt Frazier. You guys all know I like CrossFit stuff. So I was listening to a podcast with him from August with one of the CrossFitting programs out in California. And he said, there's always a quote of like, you're like the 5 people you hang around the most.
Yeah.
And he used the term, he said, 5 of my best friends are entrepreneurs. So you're likely to be an entrepreneur. And that's so true because they have businesses and they're going to want you to join because they're your friend, you know?
Yeah.
So I understand you're like the 5 people you hang out with. That's definitely true because you see themselves in yourself and you say what they say and kind of have the same habits and manners maybe.
Mm-hmm.
or mannerisms. Is that what I'm looking for?
Yeah.
But I really took it to heart how easy it is. It's hard to be an entrepreneur if you don't know any people, or you're just by yourself, or you're like the so-called first one of the group. But if you have other friends that are doing that stuff, it becomes so obvious that you can be what they are. So like when you put that in terms of decision making and how it affects your life, it was very clear to me when you said that like the decisions I made yesterday affect me today or tomorrow or 3 months from now or a year from now, whatever it might be. So I thought that was super interesting because it really like just hit me. Like I just realized like how true it is. Makes you really want to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah, and continue to push like what you're passionate about, and, like what your like goals are, and like what your priorities are.
Yeah.
And that if you're consistently saying that you want to get up at 4 a.m. and work out, but then you hit the snooze alarm every morning at 4 a.m.
Not doing
Like
it.
you're no longer like building the life you want or the life that you continuously talk about.
Yeah, and I would say you're not building accountability either.
Yeah.
If I tell my wife every morning like, hey, yeah, I'll do this for you, and then every
Yeah.
day it gets to it, it's like, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. Tomorrow's like tomorrow never comes.
Yeah.
So I think
And yeah, and so like that, like what we've been talking about, like feeds into the second quote that I had, or just and I guess another one-liner, is you find yourself in the discipline of your mindset every day.
find yourself in the discipline of your mindset every day.
Yeah, and so it's kind of like what we just talked about. Like you say you're gonna wake up at 4 a.m. Okay, your alarm at 4 a.m. goes off. Where's your discipline? Where's your mindset?
That's an interesting quote because discipline is such a hard thing. But if you put it in terms of your mind, I need to get that quote from you after we're done so I can write it down. But the discipline of your mind, it's automatically going to happen. So the word discipline there is difficult, I feel like, because it's so true. Whatever your mind is like engraved in, like, hey, I'm going to do this. Once your mind's decided it, it's very hard to get on the other side of it.
Yeah.
It's hard to convince yourself the other. Like, I hit the snooze 10 days in a row. Yeah, today I'll get up and do it. It's very hard to do.
Yeah.
Because you're disciplined. It's in your mind. I don't need to get up today. I'll just wait. I'll do this tomorrow. I'm sore. I'll work out tomorrow. You know what I mean? It's always hard to get that. Those first steps, I guess, the last week are hard. Speaking of discipline and priorities, I got a lot of stuff. I mean, not a lot of stuff, but one of the things I want to talk about this week is we talked last week about New Year's resolutions, and you got a lot of them. And I was just talking about, like, I've been thinking about priorities in life, and then with my hip and all that stuff from last, I don't know, fall, I guess. So I was thinking, because I have this camp coming up, about your priorities might change, and you really have to be engraved in discipline to know what your priorities are at that time to be able to execute properly in your stage of life. For instance, right now, my hip isn't like, it's still tender, let's say. Like if I work out too much, it gets really tender. So my priority right now is not to work out longer or harder. And the hard part of that is because I know I want to work out harder and longer.
Yeah.
But it's not going to benefit me at this stage. What's going to benefit me is how can I make sure my hip is 100%. So waking up in the morning before going to work and doing a spin bike workout, and that's a half-hour workout. That's my whole day workout. I mean, a walk at work. That's it. Or I stretch when I get home from work. It's usually like, or like working out, doing lifting. I can't. I don't squat heavy right now. I didn't squat at all last week actually. To make sure I didn't hurt my hip. So it's like, I've only worked out for a half hour today. Like I want to do more. Like Friday, Steph and I worked out together, and I just wanted to keep doing more and more and more. And then I was like, you know what? This is enough for today. So having priority be recovery, rehab right now is super important because I have to be healthy for the camp. And then after that, my priority can shift to, all right, I have a little bit of time.
Yeah.
I can start grinding more, like spending more time on workouts. I can work out before and after school.
Yeah.
But having the discipline part of that is the hardest part, because I know I want to work out more. My body, now I need to eat less, right? Now I need to eat healthier because I'm not working out as much. I need to get more sleep. All this other stuff plays into your priorities.
Yeah.
And it goes back in your decision making that you were talking earlier. But the discipline in your brain, my constant thought is priorities, and keep coming back to it. Not, oh yeah, this would be fun. It's a Friday night. Let's just keep working out. Who cares? And I've always struggled with that because I just like to keep grinding it out. So that's something I really thought about this week. So I was wondering how you have put your New Year's resolutions on the front burner, how you stay disciplined in them, how they're going, and what the priorities are to take the next step. Like, have you signed up for one of the Spartan races? Have you worked on your class? Where are we at with your New Year's stuff? It's also good reflection.
Yeah.
That's how I started to think about all this.
I'm halfway to my goal of weighing 200 pounds.
Halfway already?
Yeah.
What were you?
I weighed 170, and I weigh like.
So you're 20.
Like after tonight, I'll probably hit one.
You're 1 month in, and you're halfway. You're gonna get 2 months, baby. Check.
Yeah. I mean, I think I just really like started pushing myself to the next. Put myself in a different gear, I guess, at the weight room, and then like just eating. I don't know. I just eat a lot more.
Grocery bill's going up.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I spent $200 the other week. And then I like made it. And I'm like, dang, I was like, this is only gonna last me a week and a half for most of it.
Welcome to my life.
And but like rice and some things like potatoes and
heavy
stuff. Well, I think the goal is to read 20 books. I'm finishing up. I think I got like 20 pages left, so I'll finish that probably this week.
That's one book.
Yeah. And so that's one book down. Run a marathon. I've ran once, and that when I got my running shoes in, and I haven't really ran since.
It's gonna feel weird running when you're 200 pounds versus 170 pounds.
Well, yeah.
Might as well start running with the best.
Because I'm thinking if
and you're gonna eat more if you start running more, because that's gonna burn more calories.
Yeah. It'll be fine. Because I'll cut probably beginning of March.
What are you gonna cut? And you ain't gonna be 200.
No, this is fine.
Oh, you just want to reach 200?
Yeah, I just want to build myself up to 200, like, and then cut back down. And not like weigh 200 pounds just like straight fat, because I don't.
Don't want the blub, huh?
Yeah. So I guess I should clarify.
200 pounds of pure muscle.
Yeah. I mean, I went to chiropractor. I haven't tried cryotherapy. And my other one was 6-week challenges, and I haven't done any of those yet.
You should.
So I'm like, what?
You're making progress, though.
Yeah. Skydiving won't be till summer.
Yeah. I think you should write, like, I always write things down when I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
It's like plan for like a really hard work week in the weight room.
Yeah. What
you should do is plan for a time to reach 200 and then set up a cryo appointment to so-called celebrate your 200.
That'd be cool.
And then you hit two things out at the same time. You had a hard week in the weight room.
Yeah.
You ate like a champ. You got to 200. You got cold. And it's like three things off in one day.
So I was in the sauna in that 2 days ago, and they're talking about cold therapy, and they were talking about all sorts of stuff and how to sit in the sauna. They're talking about cold therapy and kind of how we talked about all the time. And they talked about how like they wish Lifetime had some sort of cold other than staying in the shower.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was interesting. I was like, even.
Well, one thing.
So I think I'm gonna get a bucket and I'm gonna put it out on a freaking porch type thing.
Yeah, just get a big Rubbermaid, or just get a.
That's what I'm gonna get.
You'd really like the garbage cans we have outside. You can
Yeah.
literally buy those and just dip yourself in it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be cold going outside, man.
That should be fine.
I mean, you're gonna be cold anyways. Another thing you could do. I know you said you do it in the shower, but you could You could, especially if you're at the gym, you could try to, because if you go in the sauna and then you go in the cold, it doesn't feel as bad. It's like a trick.
Yeah.
But you could go in the sauna and then put the spouts. Can you adjust the spouts in the shower at the gym? So like, can
Maybe.
you turn them? Because if you can turn two of them, so you get two at the same time, then you get double the cold.
In the shower?
Yeah, so you're like
one,
under a shower head, right?
Yeah, it's one spout.
Oh yeah, because they're enclosed, aren't they?
Yeah,
They're not
like
open.
It's like an individual.
Yeah, I thought it was just an open area. You're right.
No.
Yeah, that's another thing you could do at your apartment. Do you have a bathtub?
No. I just have standing shower. That's why I was already done my bathtub already.
Yeah, it's hard.
That's why I was like, that was the whole reason why the cryo came out.
Yeah. Another thing
But
that
then they're talking because some guys do cold therapy and they said they just got cold, like the rubber tubs.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna get.
So I'm just gonna go get one, either tomorrow or Tuesday.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest thing.
Is that on our next, or 2 weeks from now?
And then when you fill it up and you leave it outside, it's gonna be frozen. You might wanna let it leak out each time you do it, so you're not like cold. Warm up to it, you know.
It's kind of hard to let things leak out when you're on the 3rd floor.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
But yeah, so that's my challenge. Another challenge is like, I'm gonna start sitting in there. I think I'm gonna start at like 30 seconds, 45 seconds.
No, you got to do it at least 3 minutes. 45 seconds is like when you finally like get used to it.
What do you mean?
Because so when you get in the tub, you're gonna be like at the start because it's gonna be so cold, right? And then when
I gotta work myself up to it.
Yeah, but when you get to 45 seconds, if you don't move, eventually like you'll like get your breath fine.
And that's what they said. They said they started out at 45 seconds a minute, and then they get out, and it took them about a week or so, and then they
do 3 minutes. Because they say the minimum effect you need for cold therapy to work is 3 minutes. So, I mean, 45 seconds is fine, but if you're going to be in it for 45 seconds, you might as well just be in for 3 minutes and get the benefits. Not just the mental of I can do this, but like actually like help your body.
I might cry. I might die.
You're not going to die and you're not going to cry. If you cry, your tears will be frozen. You just add it to the pile. That'll be fine.
It'll be all good.
But
I'll let you know how it goes.
I was thinking about that today.
All right. You want to challenge me to 3? I'll do 3.
At least do 3. When I do it, I do 10. It's like no big deal once you get going. I only go waist down though.
Oh.
But when I get like my actual like rubber tub, like I got like you got, I'm gonna put my whole body in.
I'll do 3 minutes. I'll just do ankle deep.
The toes are obviously like the midsection, the old PP. That's the worst part. But the the toes are the second worst. Some people put like toe covers on them so you're not like cold. Yeah. The biggest thing is I gotta like get myself distracted. So I like bring my phone with me, and then I like try to get on Twitter or something. But let me know how that goes. Remember, stories and experiences matter. All right. I want to know that.
I'll write it down.
Know how that goes for you. Look up stocks or something while you do it. You can do some work. You get double time in there. That'd be good. So things are going good. That's what I'm getting out of that. Huh?
Yeah.
I like it. Another thing I want to talk about is I said we should shed some light on some other podcasts and stuff just because we want everybody to be successful. Again, this podcast we're going to talk about is way more successful than we are. Lewis Howes, something of greatness.
School of Greatness?
Yeah, School of. I was like, I'm drawing blank all the time.
waiting for you. I was like,
yeah,
School
of Greatness. Used to be a indoor football league professional, and now he lives in New York City. And
did handball.
Really, I didn't know he did handball.
Yeah.
But he has a couple books and also does podcasts weekly. And he had Stephen A. Smith on this week actually. Because Stephen A. Smith, who if you guys don't know, is a talk show host on ESPN. He's one of the highest ESPN paid employees, and he just came out with a new book. So people are kind of gung-ho about that. Anyways, he came on Lewis Howes' School of Greatness, and at the end, Lewis Howes always asks 2 questions to his people. So I just thought we could go through these questions because I think they kind of go along with what we were talking about. So he always asks, first of all, he always asks what 3 truths you have in your life are. Like if everything that you have gets erased, everybody who's ever known you, everybody who has things wrote down that you've done, media, everything's gone of you. You're going to die, and you have to give 3 truths to the world before you die. That's what he asks. But I want us to change this just for this podcast. What are 3 ways that you can sustain the motivation for staying in the cold tub, for reading 20 books, for keeping my priorities straight? 3 ways to sustain goals, motivation, whatever.
Let's see. 3 ways to sustain motivation.
Yeah, motivation or sustain progress. We'll say to sustain
I'm
progress.
gonna say self-care.
I like that one. I would use the term balance, is what I would say.
This is a side note, but
You don't like the balance thing?
I don't like the word balance.
Yeah, you're like
makes me,
David Goggins. I don't need no balance. Self-care is balance, bro.
Oh my gosh. I know it
It's
is
just
balance,
different terms.
but it's everyone has different balance in their life, and everyone tries to push their balance on everyone else.
Yeah,
like everyone needs a 50-50 work-life balance. No, shut up. Like, this is your own work-life balance. If you want 9% of your work-life balance to be 9% with your family and 10% work, hey, then find a job and make it work. If you want 90% work and 10% life balance, hey, that's awesome. You can also make that work. Stop trying to push 50-50 on everyone. As long as you have your self-care and as long as you have communication with everyone, either your work and your family and everyone around you, that's my work-life balance.
I also think it depends on your stage in life too.
Yes, again, like it's kind of what I was saying. Like, as long as you have communication with people around you and what you want to achieve. So.
Yeah, because a lot of the times, like older people is more their balance is better, I would say. Like they work and like have fun, kind of 50-50. If you want to do call it, because balance, you think 50-50, right?
Yeah.
But like I was listening to a podcast this week, and they're like, yeah, you should work your butt off while you're young, so that when you're 40, you have money and you can like get paid more at a salary job compared to working at $8 at Starbucks and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like grind it out while you're young. And again, circumstances matter. Like it's really hard for example, a CrossFitter to have a full-time job and work out. You don't have enough time in the day. So then you think of work balance.
Yeah.
Okay, your work is which I want to talk about all this in some episode too.
Yeah.
Your work is what you're not getting paid for, but you need to get money to live. So that's where your balance gets kind of screwed up, and it's hard to know. Like your stage of life, that's very hard to juggle. And that's what I mean by my balance. Not like work to life. I mean priorities versus wants versus needs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that
it just gets twisted to work, fun.
Yeah.
That's 100%. Messed up. 100%. And people don't follow their passions.
Yeah.
Which we both obviously agree on.
And so I think that's why I think that frustrates me too. Is like there's so much in between and so much like gray area that people try to make it black and white. Yeah. And again, like
they try to be robots.
Yeah.
Or they try to share stories, experiences matter, but not everybody's built up the same way. Not everybody has the same experience, and not everybody has the same visions.
Yeah. And it's just like everyone's at different stages in life. Everyone has different goals. Everyone has different thought processes. Again, like so no one's going to be 100% on the same idea of.
Yeah. And another issue is too many people are scared to So one of the quotes I heard this week, I just want to throw this in quick, is be curious, not judgmental.
Absolutely.
By Walt Whitman, which they talked about. I've been watching Ted Lasso. Yeah, and it literally falls into just what you're saying. Like people are like judgmental, they're not actually like curious about like, hey, why do you do this? Like David Goggins, he's not so-called balanced. Again, I'm starting to hate just why people think the word balance means, or he hates self-care, but his self-care is running 40 miles in the desert. That's self-care for him.
Yeah.
Depending on the day. Obviously, some days you get tired, but his balance is, okay, I ran 40 miles in the desert. Now I have to go speak to somebody.
Yeah.
right?
Or his balance is shutting up his inner D.
Yeah, and balance needs to be, what's your inner peace instead of the bee buzzing at you?
Yeah.
What's your inner peace?
I meant BITCH, but I didn't want to say it out loud. But
Yeah.
that's what he says.
Yeah, but I think of like,
I
turned it G for us.
Yeah.
Inner B like an actual B, you know? Teacher coming out.
Anyway, back to what you asked. 3 things to keep motivation.
Yeah.
1, self-care. 2, relationships. And 3, again, like these are just my priorities too, just leadership. I think like leadership pushes my relationships, which pushes my self-care. Because if I'm falling short on any one of those 3 things, then like it's unbalanced.
Yeah.
But
if you're also short on one of them, then you're not gonna get to where you want, or at least not as quick. Or there's gonna be some. I mean, there's gonna be hard times along the way, no matter what. But you're creating harder times for yourself. You can control those.
Yeah.
I like those 3. I feel like there's 10. I would say all 3 of those. I would definitely say balance or self-care would be one of them.
Mm.
I also think I've been really into intuition/wisdom lately, because but my priorities, I've always struggled with doing too much, not doing enough. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So knowing what your body can do, what you can take, learning about just life experiences, having a house, literally how to spend money, all this different stuff, classes take in high school, college, having different jobs. I think intuition is super important, or wisdom, however you want to put it.
Yeah.
And then I think passion is the other one. And we'll talk about passion maybe the next episode. No, maybe this episode.
Talk about whenever you want.
Yeah, I saw a tweet and I just went off. I commented on it and just started going on a Twitter rant. And I was like, I can't do this. We'll just talk about it. I think passion is super important, because to stay motivated, you need intrinsic motivation, which is from within, not external people motivating you. And it's really hard to keep motivation daily.
Yeah.
But if you have that passion, and I learned all about it in one of my school classes. It's kind of like self-esteem stuff and I can never say it, efficacy or whatever. I said it last week, messed it up too. But anyways, I think the more you have self-awareness of who you are and where your stuff's coming from, because I'm I want the high motivation because I want to be known, and I have the high motivation because I genuinely want to reach a goal. Those are 2 different motivations, and I'm putting this into just general people's terms and not using the actual scientific terms here. But if you can be so-called want to be famous and so-called have a high work ethic because you want to reach a goal, and then you put that with the talent level, that's when good things happen. So you have to have passion, because you have to want to reach that goal and enjoy what you're doing. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, you're never going to put in 100% effort, and you're not going to make it to the top. So I would say those 3 things are super important for me personally. But there's 10 I think we could all use.
Yeah.
Changing over here. I know we're live here. We got stuff on in the background. Don't worry about it. All right. Ready?
Yeah.
This ain't good. Oh, we're good. Okay. Computer, she's on her last strike. Also, I forgot about Vitargo. Number 1 thing you need to keep motivation is to drink your Vitargo. Can't believe I forgot about that. We had too much out of the podcast here. Sorry. Drink your Vitargo, man. I've been having it this week. In recovery, I did have a green streak, except for Saturday, which is unfortunate. But I'm feeling good about having Vitargo. I've been having plain mixed with my vanilla ice cream protein while I work out, actually. I'm not sure I like having protein as I work out. I much prefer just the like carbohydrate drink or a BCAAs or something. I don't like having real protein.
That's like having water.
Yeah, water. I need something. My workout's too hard. I gotta have something fun. Give me something to look forward to. Anyways, another thing with the Lewis House podcast, and we can move on from that. On Stephen A. Smith, this is where we get into passion and stuff after too. Stephen A. says, I love his confidence. He's like, I think I'm the baddest mofo out there on the screen because I'm confident in myself, and he's been doing it so long. But he's like, the reason that I've been around so long is because I think to myself as an employee, how can I make the company I work for, how can I make them millionaires? Also, there's 252 million millionaires in the United States, I found out. Fun fact for you. Anyways, how can I make them a ton of money? And then how can I get a portion of that money? That's what he's thinking, which is opposite. Because most people are like, screw them, I want my own money. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But he's been such a good employee, and he's bringing, like, those are the type of employees you want, is how can they make you money as a CEO or an owner, whatever, and how can you give them a portion of it as the worker?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's super smart, and that's why he's been so successful. So, he's greatness, right? So he wrote this book. We took episode 1, Greatness, where the audio sucks. So if you want to talk about greatness with us, go to episode 1. So we won't get into what greatness is today. But I love his confidence of who he is because he's self-aware. And I also been watching Last Chance U. And I love the confidence when Coach Mosey's like, it hurts to hit us, right? It hurts to drive on us. Because it's like showing the confidence even and showing that they're tough. It gets your team thinking positive like that. So I think confidence is another thing in your New Year's resolutions, the priorities I was talking about. You have to be self-aware and confident in your decisions. Going back to the quote also. That will also help you make progress rather than thinking, like if you think, hey, I can't run a marathon, then you're not going to want to, either you have the motivation to work out because you can't do it, but that's hard to sustain because that 6 months, oh, I still can't do it, now it gets old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas the confident is, hey, I ran a 7-minute mile, now I can run a 4-minute mile. You run a 4-minute mile, dang, that's awesome. Run a 5-minute mile, I'd be like, whoa, that's awesome. But I just think having the confidence is also super important. But here's where it gets interesting. Talked about passion. And I said, I saw a tweet by Brad Stuhlberg again that said, well, there's a couple things he said. One, this is a different quote actually, sorry, I got ahead of myself. Somebody said, you can be passionate about something after you make a lot of money. Like going into your job, you're not passionate. You just want to be a millionaire and you're not passionate about your job. You hate your job. And once you become a millionaire, now you're like, yeah, I'm passionate about the job because I got the money. Do you think that that is a true statement? Because I don't like it.
No. No. That's, I mean, I guess it can be for some people. Like I'm not gonna like roll it out for some people. Some people like, it depends what you want. Like if that's what you want, then yeah, that's awesome. Absolutely hate your job, but especially if it pays well, hate your job. You're gonna grind for the money, then do with what you will.
It's so hard to just grind though.
Yeah, but it depends. It depends what you want. Depends what your goals are. And again, like I still think that quote is for a very, very select people. Very select people. Like to the population of 99.9% of people are going to be mad at that quote, or people are going to be mad at that statement. But to the 0.01 or 0.01%, like that's going to make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense to me if they're.
I just think it takes a special type of person to do that.
Yeah.
And to me, like we talked about earlier, how people just waste, like they don't follow their passion. Like, why would you even want to do that? If it helps you get to your passion, and in the work for some reason you end up liking it. Let's say you work for a banking company, right? You're doing let's say you're doing investments, right? So you're doing portfolios for people, and you hate it. You sit at the desk all day, you get all this money, it's stressful, you don't want to mess something up, blah, blah, blah. Put all these money in the portfolios for people or businesses, and then you make $1 million, and now your other passion, or just use mine, like you want to have a home gym, like a full garage gym, right? So you want to work out in it, you want to make money to do that. You made money to do that, and you could build your gym, and now you're like, oh, you know what? I love work so much, I'm going to work 60 hours a week instead of 40. I feel like that doesn't really happen. So, like, to me, why get the $1 million and then do it? Why not get 200,000 and then, like, as you're doing it, slowly get the passion you actually care about from the start, or feel like so I feel like if you just hate your job, you're not following any purpose.
Well,
and you still can't give 100%. If you're making $1 million and you're not giving your whole percent, like, clearly you have some sort of talent level you can do something with. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't agree with, like, it's not even the whole money thing. I think you should make money to be able to follow your other passions, but I don't find people making money and then being like, yeah, I actually love this job. I feel like it's fake passion.
Right.
It's not common.
The amount, like you said, there's 252 million millionaires in the United States.
Yep. 252 million millionaires.
Which is wild. That's a crazy high number.
Really puts $1 million ain't worth nothing.
That's what I'm saying. But even that, like, being a millionaire, like that's an awesome thing. But you don't even need that. Like, to live successful in America, like, what the average income is, what, 40?
Yeah, I think the average
for a single, and then for two people is what, 65, 70?
Yeah,
it's nothing like that impressive. Like, that's probably what, 90%.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, I lived off an average salary, and Steph didn't make as much as I did, and I paid for a whole year of grad school by myself. We went on a honeymoon, paid for a wedding, and now we're obviously her schooling a lot more, and trying to save it for a house, did all that in 2 years.
Yeah.
And still are fine.
Yeah.
And that didn't have any special job.
Yeah.
It's about priorities again. Like, how do you want to spend your money, you know?
Yeah.
If you're going out to the bar every day for happy hour after work, you're not gonna be able to do that stuff. Or you build your own garage gym, that takes a lot of money.
Yeah.
But
going back, referencing Stephen A. Smith, I think also, like, normalizing, like, talking highly to yourself and about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people always rip on themselves, and they always talk to themselves poorly. And so when you start talking to yourself highly, I think your self-respect goes up, and then your self-discipline goes up. Because as soon as you set goals or expectations with yourself that you meet, automatically, like, your self-respect goes up. And
as long as you can back it up.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, you set goals and you meet them.
Yeah.
Like, that's where, like, self-respect comes in. That's when, like, you don't need anyone else because you can depend on you.
Yeah. And just, I feel like when somebody's, like, around you, you know, and you can, like, just feel their, like, sense of, like, self, or they have, like, a light shining on them.
Yeah.
If you're confident, that light is way brighter than, like, you're in a little hole, like, oh, I hope I can do this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, bro? It's like, you know, don't worry, I got it.
Yeah.
Like, confidence is a big thing to have, I think.
Stopping behind this.
Sorry, guys.
So, I think I thought about that. Because now, like, I walk in my job and I really think, I don't think I'm the shit, but I really think, like, I'm good at my job and good at what I do.
Yeah, I think it's okay to think a little bit that you're like you're the man.
If I'm not, like, even if you are not good, but if you're not thinking you're the best, then you're really not setting yourself up.
Or not trying to be the best.
Yeah, I think you're already starting at, like, a losing mindset.
Yeah.
And this is just something I've grown upon and for sure noticed in the last month. I found myself, like, I kind of, like, have lost my filter at work, and that, like, I'm still very professional, but the things I say are, like, a lot more out of pocket and, like, more radical than what I usually say. I just think more is because, like, I'm more confident in just saying, like, because it's just what it is. Like, I'm not lying or calling people out of their name or anything.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
I do think saying, so again, I've been watching Ted Lasso, and again, it's a fictional make fun show. But
Yeah.
and one of the players, he ends up going on TV and being like a sportscaster, and he just lays into everybody, like just gives it as he feels it. And like I think that's also in, like at school, I always like just bull crap, like, hey, nice job, like, hey, try your best, it's okay. Like some kids are like, I can't take this test. I was like, oh, okay, you've been gone, yeah, just try it, see, try your best, blah blah blah. Like instead, like, hey, why didn't you come in yesterday? You were here at school yesterday. You didn't have class. We give everybody, the world gets too many passes because we're afraid to have tough conversations. And that's another thing I was just thinking of this week. Good leaders have the tough conversations, and they're okay having it because once you start doing it, it becomes easy, right? So then again, more self-confidence, more communication, more understanding of you and your employees and yourself.
Yeah.
How can we reach a common goal? How can we be better? How can we both get some of the profits? How can we each use our passions to be successful in whatever version that we're trying to get? Again, America Soft. It's like Jocko Willick. You guys know our best friend. We gotta get Jocko on here. In the Jaguars game, I guess Doug Peterson for the Jags when they were playing the Chargers and they came back and won from 30.
Yeah.
I guess earlier in the season, Doug Peterson, their coach, showed a video about Jocko, and he's like, it's like the series of good. Like anything happens, good. So Trevor Lawrence, he said in the locker room, he's like, he thought, or somebody came back and was talking about the Jocko video that got shown. So a lineman came up to him, and Trevor's like, man, if they're in 4 interceptions, and the lineman's like, good. In the middle, they're down 30. In the locker room, and Trevor just kind of laughed, and he's like, all right, good. Screw it. You know, like having that mindset of, you know what, I've threw 4 picks, F it, we're gonna come back and win this. Like that, to have that, that's a positive. That's a winner's. That's a confident mindset. Having them there being like, oh, we're down 30, screw it, we'll try next year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like the power of maybe, like I talked about, I don't know, sometime last season with Tom Brady and the Chinese proverb. Every time something bad happens, good.
Right. What's the point of having a bad outlook?
Yeah, it doesn't solve anything. Literally.
Yeah. It's not, it just makes your problems worse.
Yeah.
If you don't have it.
You got, again, like 10% what actually happens to you.
Exactly. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? Just having a positive outlook on everything.
Yeah.
Because we talked about this last episode because you talked about me telling you like what happens if everything goes right.
Yeah. And again, being Debbie Downer doesn't solve any problems. The only thing you lose by like having hope is you get let down. But you got to realize that life's not perfect. And again, if you have a positive mindset, or I shouldn't say a positive mindset, you have
I got both my
a
nose.
workful. I want to say workful, if that's even a thing. A workful mindset. How can you get something bad happens and you're like, I tried, wasn't good enough. That sucks. Like I would think, all right, next time I'm going to be better. That's another way to so-called keep motivation, I think, rather than saying, I didn't get it that time. Screw it, don't need it. So if you can be a workful mindset, that's another way to help keep motivation, which is another theory by sports psychologists as well. But
you know what's crazy though? Like thinking about positive mindsets and positive outcomes. What's today? 2 days ago, there was a snap memory that came up of we were hydrant at you and I, and we were on the dance floor, and I think it's the first time we went out with Stephanie.
yeah,
I think it's the first time we
January.
Yeah.
I remember
And so and I had a video recording and be like, you're kind of like just like shuffling.
Yeah, I wasn't confident.
you're like just shuffling, and then she's like turning around, you like grab her hand and spin her around, and I was like, my caption just said like teach me these dance moves or something like that. But I just thought how funny that was, and then how we just talked about like how she hadn't responded to you in like 3 days, and then you guys went on a date. And that's how everything like just worked out. Like
that's another thing. We can talk about this for days. Everything really does work out.
Yeah.
If you put the effort in and you legit mean well, things will work out. Like I had to switch jobs and stuff, you know. I literally got like a position, for it's like a study hall position that's open every day. So I have a job every day now as a substitute. And I was like all worried about having to move around and stuff like that. And the job's literally perfect. I mean, it's hard to deal with 6th and 7th graders that are not crazy, but in terms of like how good it could go and how bad it could go, I'm pleased with it. So again, everything does work out at the right time if you need it to. So just keeping the faith, again, having that positive, or I call it a workful mindset, because you got to work towards it, and having hope, but knowing that you put in the effort to get what you want on your side, I think is really beneficial. So that's just my thoughts. But those are all my thoughts from this week that I thought portrayed to life moving forward. You got anything? You good?
I'm good. Well, I know you texted me a few other things.
Yeah, we'll hit them on the. I got a big 1440. We'll have a nice discussion. You guys don't want to miss the 1440 coming up. Taylor and I are gonna have a nice conversation. No argument, just a nice conversation about intensity and consistency. And what that means.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm ready for it.
I got more. Next, I got a whole page of stuff. People, we got all sorts of stuff. Yeah, we're good.
I think that's good on this one then.
All right. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Don't forget on 1440. Trust, it's going to be the best one ever. Or it might be the worst one ever. Either way, tune in. Appreciate you guys.
Love it. Bye.